Welcome, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I'm going to disable the meeting room, the waiting room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see a couple new faces, some that we see every month. It's great to see you as always. Today's meeting is going to be pretty brief. We're going to go through a very strict agenda. We're going to walk through really quick budget updates. Then we're going to run to some really important updates from the Planning and Development Committee. And then we'll end the meeting with some announcements from the Events Committee. So we don't have speakers this month. It's going to be a pretty light meeting. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to, actually, the treasurer's not here, so I will do the treasurer's report. So congratulations to Janae and Daryl and everyone who worked on the Home and Garden Tour. We were able to net $1,717 in ticket sales. And so now our total balance on hand in our account is $2,142.12. So now that we have money in our account, monthly, it's going to be the role of the treasurer to keep you abreast of what's going on in our finances, just so that everyone understands, because I know that's not completely normal with every organization, but because we're a community association, it's really important that our books are pretty open and that we're really clear and transparent with how much money we have on hand and how we use that money, because we're beholden to you, our members. So that's going to come in the form of an actual written report moving forward. But we did want to give you that update because I know a lot of you all supported the Home and Garden Tour, attended it, bought tickets, encouraged others to. So thank you so much for that support. And I'm sure Janae is going to extend that. Thanks. And any questions about that or the treasurer's report or about our current finances? Okay, so with that, I'll turn it over to Arlen Pullers, our Planning and Development Chair.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We have a few items coming up at the BMZA, as well as to revisit some items that have been on our report for a while. I'll start off with the 2001 Park Avenue. As you may or may not know, those surveys are due by the 19th. There was some issue as to whether it was the 12th or the 19th. It's definitely Friday, August the 19th. I've sent it out through the Upper Utah Madison listserv. I'm going to send it out at least 2 more times to get as many people to respond to that as possible. Hopefully everyone is or will be planning to do that before the deadline. We also have the issue with 2201 Brookfield. I've been in contact with Keandra regarding this for a minute. There's an email that I have yet to respond to from Alex Aaron, and because I'm kind of torn as to what our response should be, because our response is predicated upon the survey petition, or whatever you want to call it, regarding that area and the neighbors. And he's actually commented to Keandra, I hope you don't mind me saying this, because I felt it was rather insulting to you, just to imply that you did not know what your membership wanted, when it's obvious what we want, even though that is in apparent opposition to what other entities within the city actually want, and that's obvious beyond a shadow of a doubt. Last communication we had with Aaron, he's told us that if we couldn't get it to him by, August, that it was no longer valid. I don't really know what's going on, but I have my suspicions, and I've aired those suspicions with the other members on the board. And I'm going to say them now. It just seems as if these entities that are trying to get this property, I say entities, but it's apparently one entity, they keep trying to get a black face to come up before the board, or they need a black face so they can get certain tax cuts. That's my interpretation of what's going on, because they keep bringing up these other developers and saying, and the developers will tell us that they've gotten the properties, but the properties haven't switched ownership. And so that's what's going on with that. That's 2201 Brookfield. When I hear back from Alex Aaron, I will respond to his email at that time. But as of now, the last correspondence he gave us was that he did not needed after, I think it was, what was it, August the 3rd or 4th, somewhere around there. And that's where we're standing. We have, like I said, we have the petitions. We had 120 plus signatures. That was, well, we had 120 plus people show up at the BMZA virtual board meeting. And that was Melda and Rolando, I believe, were heading the PDC committee at the time. And it kept getting pushed back. It kept getting pushed back until they kind of threw a curveball when no one showed up, and except for one person. And thank you for showing up. And then they said, well, this is what we're going to do. So that's where we are now with that property. The other issue is 2412 Lakeview. And from my understanding is that it's been vacant for a long time. Apparently they have to get a renewal of occupancy or that nature because they want to convert it to a 3-unit property. As you may know, that once a property is vacant for a year, it rescinds back to its original use as a single unit property. So I think that's what's going on with that. I don't have any background. I'm going to reach out to James's assistant, Jarvis, because I know James has some family issues going on right now. Let's see if we can get some clarity on that. And that's about it as far as I have right now.
Thank you, Arlen. And I saw Melda put some links in the chat for you all. So just so you know, the video of the conversation around 2001 Park is online. And I think it's been linked in the chat. So you can go ahead and watch that if you weren't able to participate. Just to remind everyone why you should watch the video and why you should comment. This is going to be one of the only opportunities that the community beyond the panel, which we're so lucky that Arlen is on the panel for 2001 Park, along with someone from RHIC and another representative from Historic Mount Royal Terrace. But they're going to be using our feedback to basically, I don't want to say encourage, but share the opinion of the community with the comptroller, but ultimately the comptroller decides the use of the building. So I want to make that really clear. You know, of course, Arlen will advocate on behalf of the community and others will advocate on behalf of the community. But it makes it even stronger if your opinion is shared, because then it makes a really clear picture to the city what we do want and what we don't want. And that video is pretty long. But in a post that I believe Daryl shared, he did share timestamps of the 3 presentations, or it might even be available on the comptroller's office. So if you're watching one and you want to kind of skip forward, you can do that. But I do encourage that you watch all 3 of them to be able to come up with your decision. And like Arlen said, the 19th is the due date, so it's coming up rather soon. So moving forward, oh, and Arlen, did you want to explain to folks the change with the BMZA hearings, that they're no longer now going to be? Did you say that already? You might have. Sorry. I
don't know. Yeah, I sent that out earlier about them bringing back Zoom, but apparently that's not the case. They've taken Zoom away from the BMZA. You have to actually show up in person. And that really makes no sense as far as participation from your constituents. I'm going to also bring it up with James to see what can be done about that, because that absolutely makes no sense at all. So the only people who have easy access to these meetings will be people who have some type of financial or some close ties to what's going on in the meeting, whereas most of the constituents in the neighborhood who probably have to work will not be able to make it. So that's my point of view. Take it or leave it.
It's true. It's going to really change the ability for people to participate. Yeah, Melda?
Actually, I'm a little bit confused about the date, because the date on the website still says the 12th. So that's
for the
right,
the 12th for Park Avenue.
Right, for feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's the 12th, not the 19th. It's this Friday. Coming Friday is when all comments are due. So sorry for the confusion.
Wait a minute. Is it this Friday or next Friday? Is this Friday the 12th?
This Friday, right? This Friday.
Right, because they had said it was Wednesday the 12th. You're
Yeah,
right. Thank you.
we're all over the place. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry for the confusion. Friday the 12th, 2001 park comments are due. And then, I just wanted to really highlight that issue with things moving from online for now. Hopefully we can advocate for that change back to getting an online option with the BMZ hearings, but it makes it even more clear why the strategy that the PDC has been taking for creating position letters is so important, which is that we ask any position that we take will not be the position of the board. So some organizations, they kind of have a board that comes together and they unilaterally say, oh, this is good, this isn't good. We don't do that. We have a policy of going door to door and actually asking the most affected neighbors of that change how they feel about it. And that helps us along with other research, right? So like in the case of 2201, people had questions about who would be developing the property, how close it was to going into receivership and other things like that. So we as a board did help with research on that, but it was really crucial that the most affected neighbors actually got together and walked around and spoke to each other and decided how they wanted the position of RHA to be. So I just want to make that really clear. That's the way RHA operates. And that's why we're kind of butting heads a little bit with developers that are used to working with organizations that they can kind of persuade to say something regardless of how the neighbors feel. But that by policy of RHA is not how we operate. We just simply do not make, if we rather not write a position, then write a position that would not represent the voice of the most affected neighbors. So I just want to make that really clear. So what Arlen was saying is because of our policy, there's really not much else to say to that developer because the neighbors that are most affected by that property made it super clear their opinion on that development, made it super clear, how they wanted the building to be transformed and how, and believe me, their opinion was not completely stacked. It wasn't, irrational. It wasn't one that wasn't trying to work with anybody. But there was some concerns around parking, around sanitation, and other issues that we don't seem to see any movement or any change from the standpoint of the developer. And that is why we're not really altering our letter. So I just want to make that really clear. It's not a board versus anything. It's RHA as an organization, which is striving to be the representative voice of Reservoir Hill. So it's really what Reservoir Hill feels about this situation. So I just wanted to make that's super clear. And did we want to, anything else, Arlen? No, you closed. Okay. So we can then move on to Janae McLean, the events committee chair.
Thank you so much. Daryl, can you pull up the slides? I wasn't expecting to be next. Sorry.
Can I share screen?
Yeah, I just made you host, Daryl. Now you can.
All right.
So while he is pulling the slides up, I just wanted to really reiterate what Keandra said. And I actually added a few things on the agenda slide as well. But nonetheless, so we recently wrapped up so we recently wrapped up our fundraiser event for the Reservoir Hill 2022 Reservoir Hill Home and Garden Tour. So if you'll flip to the next slide, Daryl. Great. So just to give an overview and a summary of our first event. So this was the first ever virtual event for our Home and Garden Tour. In years past, it's been an in-person event that was very well attended and received a lot of great feedback. So in response to what's happening with COVID, we switched everything to a virtual tour. After much discussion and deliberation with our events committee. So in summary, for this event, we sold 95 tickets So 95 of our neighbors, friends, and others took our virtual home and garden tour. We also had 16 raffle tickets that were sold as an add-on. And so our total, if we add all of those together, were 100 plus participants or tickets that were sold. We had 722 page views. So hopefully at a later time, we can do even better. And I pretty much spilled the beans as far as what's coming next. So we wanted to thank everybody who participated by either inviting us into their homes or promoting the event, like Keandra said, and those that brought tickets and those that took a moment to share their feedback, which was really positive regarding this first virtual event. So if you'll turn to the next slide, Daryl. So at the Home and Garden Tour, we took an opportunity to thank our unsung neighborhood heroes. So we are reiterating that and sending our accolades to those individuals that make our neighborhood better. We also wanted to congratulate our raffle winners. For those folks that participated, each admission ticket came with a raffle ticket. And so we thank we congratulate our raffle winners. And we did have one scavenger hunt winner. Full disclosure, we only had one person that submitted, but nonetheless, we thank our virtual scavenger hunt winner as well. And so next slide, please. So we felt like it was a huge success. It was an amazing event to put together with the events committee. And so we wanted to take a moment, not at this meeting, but at our next events meeting, to debrief and gather feedback. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what we can start, stop, or continue. And we received such great positive feedback that we want to plan for a winter edition, which will be, different and an opportunity for us to be creative and how we bring things forward for our winter edition. So the question that I'm posing to the general membership is, are you interested in participating in the winter edition? And and this is from both an organizational point of view, as well as, are you interested in showing your home holiday transformation? So if so, certainly type a note in the chat, but you can also send us an email at reservoirhillassociation.org, and we'll have further instructions and further guidance. Thank you, for, ways that you can participate from various points of view, and also ways that we can find another avenue for spotlighting our wonderful neighborhood. So next slide, please. So thank you to everyone for making it just very fun and very successful as our first ever virtual event in that regard. So next up, we have movie night in the park. And I'm going to steal Miss Lauren's words and adopt them a little bit and say, let's glow. So it is going to be a glow in the dark event. It is a partnership with In Life, who is an amazing organization that we have worked with, and Friends of German Park. And so this is not Groundhog Day. We did have all the postings and everything lined up for August the 5th. And thunderstorms rolled in, and so we pivoted. So our new date is August the 19th. It's going to be at 6:30 in German Park, but we're going to need help. So we're going to try and get the word out through a flyering event that should be August the 13th, which is a Saturday at 1:30. So we'll send a correction out. So we're just going to meet in German Park and pass out a few flyers, hopefully targeting like the apartment buildings in the area, etc., to bring people out. And then on the actual event, we will need assistance with setting up. So we'll probably start about 3 o'clock, getting everything together. And then we'll also need some help with concession stand workers on the 19th. And then we're going to have a mechanism for asking people to sign up to join us for our RHA membership enrollment. And that too will be on the 19th at the actual movie night event. So we have a number of things lined up. We got a little Tarka Brothers ice cream that's going to be served. We have a workshop for the kids where they're going to be building paper lanterns, and Miss Lauren as well as Javelle Mack, they're going to be working with the kids to put all that together. We're going to have the funnel cake king. We're going to have a concession stand, and balloons, face painting, balloon twisting. So we're trying to have a really great event to really, I guess it's kind of like an end of summer event that is free. But the concessions as well as the funnel cake will, for a small fee, you too can enjoy the yummy goodness. For the Tarka Brothers, the first 50 people will enjoy a 4-ounce ice cream. And then after that, the participants can purchase their ice cream as they watch the movie, which is Turning Red. We're also going to show a couple of cartoons to kind of cue things up. But we're thinking it's going to be a really great, fun event in German Park. So hopefully you'll be able to join us and come out and just relax a little bit and enjoy the movie. So I think next slide. I believe that might be all I have. Yep, that's it. So thank you so much. And I will turn it back over to you, Keandra.
Awesome. Okay, I think you have to stop.
If we have time, I actually have a report.
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
All right. Uh-oh. Come on, full screen. There we go. Go back to the beginning. Start all over again. Come on. Come on. All right. So marketing committee, we were basically side by side with events for the tour. And now that the tour is over with, marketing is ready to shake, rattle, and roll. We started with our social media, our Twitter account. We changed it over to Twitter for Professionals. It's listed as a non-governmental and nonprofit organization. A 28-day summary. We went from 2 followers to now 31 followers. But to be honest, I'm kind of cheating because it's individuals that have followed me that I know. But you got to get your numbers up just a little bit for legitimacy to then start getting other people to follow. We're following a lot of Baltimore hubs, organizations, nonprofits, artists, that type of thing. And so our numbers will start increasing as we make the determination on our social media shares, frequency, and delivery method, all of which we're going to discuss at the next meeting. Instagram, we set up our Instagram as a professional account. Then it made us join Meta Business Center, which if Google is Workspace, then Facebook is Meta Business Center. And then I couldn't get the Facebook group to act right with the Instagram, so I had to delete this. So I'm still working on that. But our Instagram is our social media account that gets that has the most reach. As you can see, 759 followers. So next is Nextdoor. We changed the Nextdoor account, set it up as a business account under community organization, the profile information. And now that status has changed, we can submit unlimited messaging on Nextdoor. Our Facebook group, the Facebook group that profile didn't get finished, but the Facebook group, the Facebook group, we did edit the information. but our Facebook group has 96 members, closed group. And so in our discussion at the next market meeting, we're going to talk about how we grow the Facebook group while it's still private, or do we want to make the Facebook group public? YouTube, during the tour, we completed the customization of the YouTube channel, edited all the profile information. We uploaded the home and garden tour information to get us a good start on our digital assets, including SEO content on all the videos. So as individuals start to do searches for Reservoir Hill Association, all of our branded accounts are going to start to come up because they are filled out with all the information that's necessary for the Google bots to drag and find us. We utilized we started with the Green Committee to do branded content. So for the tour, In the Garden with Master Gardener Lauren Muhammad is intros on all of her material. And all of her information is filled out in summaries and all of the, again, information that the search engines need. What else did I want to say about that? I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. But that's the YouTube channel. And so then what we're going to start. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. And so on all the videos, we put cards on them in order to share other videos. And that was, but we're just starting out insofar as getting views for YouTube. But eventually, all these things are going to work in concert. MailChimp, we're gathering our information for the monthly newsletter, but there was a reason we didn't send it out this month on time. We hope to send the newsletter out next month on time. We gather the content at the end of the month. Individuals send if you have something that you would like to include in the monthly newsletter, you can forward it to marketing, but please in the subject line, say, this is for the monthly newsletter. Pardon. So then all of those will just go, I'll read all of those at the same time. We set up the weekly update template. And the idea for this is that we're gonna create the weekly template just like the newsletter, just like the monthly newsletter, but we're just gonna use the link to share in other social media posts. So what's gonna happen is that MailChimp is gonna just basically act as the host for the weekly newsletter, and individuals will click on it from the Facebook group or Twitter or what have you, and they're going to be able to see that weekly reminder of what's going on around the Reservoir Hill and what's germane to our community. And finally, we're completing footers for all the templates. I don't know with each committee's information down at the bottom. So let me see. Organizational messaging. So this is probably the most important piece, which is for submission. It's a Google form, was created by Janae, is being modified, and that form is going to have the who, what, when, where, and why. We're going to ask that we receive that form by a certain time. And if we don't have that form by a certain time, which we said 8 days before the event, then generic messaging will go out. We can modify messaging, once we get the information, but we just time permitting. But we have to have an organized way in which marketing moves forward, not just what I think should happen and me trying to do everything. We're gonna move as a committee moving forward. Content management, we are working on putting all that together so that individuals outside the organization can have a type of permission to utilize the information that the content that we create. outside the organization, and they'll have permissions, and then individuals inside the organization will have another set of permissions, and all of your information or all of your content will be available for you to share. It'll be in two sizes, small and large. This is just this is the content that we're creating, and all of the content generic without dates are going to be available, so that if you want to do something with one of these headers or what have you, all that will be available. Graphic design, we're using Canva for our graphic design. We're listed as a nonprofit charitable organization. We're connected to Facebook and Twitter thus far. I got to get Instagram and see what else that I can do to share. We're continuing the process of transferring information from my personal account over to this one because I didn't think ahead. And what they actually want you to do is go open up one in one browser, open up another browser, and copy paste. And I'm like, I got to figure out a better way to do that, because I might have like 90 things I want to put into our Canva. Opened up the content planner, but we're going to make a decision at the next marketing meeting as to which calendar or content submission program that we're going to use, and then that way we'll know how all of our social media is going to be submitted. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You've been very, very, very busy. And I see Arlen, your hand's up.
Yeah, I just signed up for the Instagram and the Twitter, but I was on Nextdoor. Is that the Reservoir Hill Association of Neighbors on Newington?
Does it say Newington? Does it say Newington? It shouldn't say Newington.
It says the only one I'm showing that has Reservoir Hill Association is Reservoir Hill Association of Neighbors on Newington.
No, so
I'll hold off on that one then.
Okay, yeah, I guess we'll figure out what's showing up and try to clean that up. So thank you for flagging that, Arlen. Okay, so that's it for events, and then and for the marketing committee. And okay, the Maryland Department of Transportation is inviting comments on the BMP tunnel. So if you have particular, email your comments. I know that RAT has a letter that they have crafted that you can kind of use the language from that letter if you want to head start on that. But all the comments are due again this Friday. This Friday is a popular day for a due date, I guess. But the more you share with the Maryland Department of Transportation about your feelings on the tunnel, the stronger the argument can be for the neighborhood. So other than that, I just wanted to share some dates in the calendar. So again, the movie night is August 19th at 6:30 p.m. at German Park, but volunteering will begin at 3 p.m. There's going to be a back to school event at Dorothy Height for school supplies and a resource fair on August 25th at 12 p.m. And then at Mount Royal Elementary School, there's going to be a cookout on August 26th at 3 p.m. Our next general membership meeting will be on September 13th, again at 7 p.m. And then in October, save the date, DPW in collaboration with our Green Committee Chair, Lauren Mohammed, and the Green Committee in general are planning a DPW pop-up. That's going to be on October 22nd at 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And there's going to be a ton of resources on how to protect the watershed, how the different incentives that you can use in your home to reduce the water fees that you might have, and other resources on recycling and composting. So that's going to be in October. So there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of events that will be added to that list the next time we meet. Did anyone have any other additional comments before I start closing out? Oh, and thank you, Melda. The email for RAT is now in the chat, ratbaltimore gmail.com, and RAT, for those who maybe have heard this for the first time, because I remember the first time someone said that, I was like, what are you talking about? Residents Against the Tunnels. The acronym spells RAT, so that's what people call it for short. So we're not talking about actual rats, we're talking about an organization of neighbors who are opposed to the BMP tunnel project. So anyone else on the call, any of our members have any announcements or anything they want to share with the membership before we close out for the evening? Okay, all right. So the only other thing that I want you to know, someone did reach out to me to ask what the state, and maybe Arlen, if you have the answer to this, what's going on with Madison Park North, breaking grounds? Have you heard anything, any changes?
No, I had asked James about that, and they haven't given us a date yet. So my suspicion is that because the material prices are so high, that maybe they're delaying it for that reason. But that's my guess.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yes.
And also, Arlen, so you were saying the Brookfield thing, it's still in like survey mode or something? That's what's going on?
No, the survey's already been done.
Okay.
The developers wanted a letter of support, and the letter of support would be in opposition to what the community has already stated that they wanted.
Okay.
That's what we're standing by. Is the they said they were going to go ahead and develop with or without the letter, so they can go ahead and develop without the letter. That's my opinion.
Do you have any other questions, Jesse, about that, or?
No. No, it's just a very interesting thing how they just keep switching around.
Yeah.
What you guys were saying. So, because this is my first time hearing about developments and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's been really eye-opening, I will say. Like, being a part of this organization has really opened my eyes to how easily things can move very quickly through the city, and things can be approved without any oversight by neighbors. It's really easy. It's actually what we're doing is completely moving against the current. And so it really depends on neighbors like you, everyone on this call, people, that might chime in or listen to this later, really participating in the process, because without you participating, it's going to move forward. And it might still move forward with us participating, but at least we're in the know and we understand what's going on. But yeah, just keep joining, keep coming to meetings, join a committee. And thank you for coming, everyone. And we hope to see you next month.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.